Hello everyone and welcome to another video, or maybe I should say ciao everyone, because today we've got a channel first in that I will be casting a Warriors of Middle-earth game for you, combined with Lords of Middle-earth, which I've cast a couple times. And this game is from the Italian tournament that has been playing recently between players TheFatHobbit and Giampy. So thank you to those players for letting me cast this, and I hope to do it some justice. I have played some WoME, Warriors of Middle-earth, but I'm by no means fully experienced, so I'll do my best to not get caught too hard in things I don't know. But this is also a first test of my updated viewing system to allow for the Warriors of Middle-earth. So if you have any particular comments on the changes there, let me know. I guess let's get on into it. So, free people have begun. They've started with Gandalf, Keeper of Narya, and it looks like no one else out, although I'll advance in a minute to make sure. Book of Mazarbul would be fun to start with Gimli out, so you could go straight to war, but House of the Stewards is then you wish you had Boromir out. So, and then Shadow begins with Dreadful Spells, Monsters Roused, and her own offspring for some bonus, not Nazgul, similar but different spiders. So yeah, let's see what the fun's all about. And I do not speak, any Italian. And I will try to keep myself from insensitive jokes about Mario or spaghetti or whatever, but so I'll do my best to follow the text as it goes by. One eye allocated, no more rolled, but 2 musters, that's nice. And Gandalf betrays the fellowship immediately with his dice, so thanks Gandalf. Shadow begins by drawing a card. Yeah, those are, the very few games I've played, I'd want her own offspring just because I like spiders, but let me be clear. I like the spiders in this game. Do not like real-life spiders. Fellowship passes, and the Shadow moves the Southrons from Farharad to Nearharad and Anauda Barad-dûr for Sauron. Okay. Fellowship moves. It was safe. Shadow moves to Moranon, so maybe going towards Dew. Free people draw into Theoden, I guess without Gandalf the Grey Wanderer. Playing a card doesn't have a particular benefit, and these cards are unplayable. So, Shadow draws into Great Winged Creatures. This is one of the new, quote-unquote, new WoME cards. Wow. That's a fun card. Get a Nazgul wherever you have a Nazgul. That's pretty good. Free people moves again. That seems to make sense. Double hit and a 3. It's WoME and LoME, so do you take Gandalf? I assume you do, even though you're down your keeper die. Yeah. I imagine you gotta. Ooh. And then instead of putting Isengard to war and risking enabling Gandalf the White next round, Giampy chooses instead to get the Balrog. So, okay. And then the elves are moved towards war by TheFatHobbit, and Sauron goes to war with the last dice. So, into the next round, Shadow, and I'll try to not get too stuck. It's a WoME game, so I assume we're going to be here for a while, so I'm going to try and not get too stuck on the card draws. Orc Patrol is good. Many Kings is good this early. Safe Paths in the Dark is maybe not so good this early, but a Daylight's always nice. You got 2 Daylights already, so that's nice. 4 dice is less nice for free people. 1 eye allocated, and the Balrog is excited for some delicious fellowship. No bueno. I do know that. Shadow plays many kings. Yep, that seems pretty good. Fellowship passes. The North Dunlanding joins into Moria, as does Nirn into Gorgoroth. Wow, reading the Nirn guy is getting some play. Interesting. I would have thought any Southron or Easterling army move would have been more useful, but what do I know? Galadriel comes into play. Yep, definitely don't know what that means. Okay. Ooh. Gothmog comes out. That's interesting. Even though you have the Balrog die, you're wanting both. Fellowship moves, and on the third move is hit. It's for Smeagol. So Smeagol joins the Fellowship and takes the lead. Welcome to LoME. Shadow draws Stormcrow. Really, you have no cards you want to play? You don't want to play Orc Patrol here? Into Moria? I must be missing something there. Fellowship moves again, so they're quote-unquote through Moria. They're hit twice for a 2 reveal, so... Oh, but Galadriel's in play, so we can just not do that. And instead get an eye. Well, so much for that. Balrog is an eye, which means he and Smeagol fight to the death. That's, as always, pretty hilarious. But you've soaked 3 corruption out of the Fellowship with an eye that quote-unquote was going to do nothing, so that's handy. And then the Moria tile's a 2. So random, you risk the random. I think that makes sense. Although maybe you would, it makes sense. And you get Legolas, so efficient. And in fact, Legolas or Gimli's probably the best one, right? Because the Hobbits have a card in WoME, and then Axe and Bow is still in play, or, still valid. We Shall Get It comes into play. So I guess Safe Paths in the Dark will matter. So that's handy. And the Chief of the Ringwraiths comes in. Yep, that makes sense. Fellowship hides again. And Orc Patrol is played. Yeah, okay. And draws a 1, so yep. There's your 1 corruption. And because the Chief is in play, gets to draw and gets Lure of the Ring. Alright, we'll see how often I keep this up, but as the game stands now, Shadow hasn't left the starting area, and is down the Balrog he did. Elves are almost at war. Galadriel's in play. Gandalf's not. I don't know who I'd favor here. Especially because I'm so unfamiliar with WoME. Balrog die goes away. Lifted up and borne away. Ooh, move the Fellowship. But you don't have the Eagles in play, so that's, not happening right now. I will go alone. That could come into play. Captain of Despair is excellent. Swords in Eriador is not. Shadows of Dol Guldur could be interesting. And I saw House of Stewards went away, it looks like. And Monsters Roused. Interesting. The Desperate Battle. It looks like it's a corruption game. Yeah, that makes sense. Not a lot else you would want to throw. 1 eye allocated. I'm a little surprised not 2. But 3 more rolled, or 2 more rolled, and the Gothmog die. So I don't know. Yep, I will continue to not know Italian. Who could have guessed? Fellowship moves. Double hit for a 1 reveal. That is unfortunate. A really inconvenient number and a reveal. The spiders come in. Fellowship hides with the keeper dice. Okay. That's one of those things that I just need to get in my head, is which things the keeper dice can do and can't. So apparently Strider can hide with a keeper die. Really, we're going to spend a whole move sticking, a bunch of Nazgul and Dol Guldur, so we can do Shadow of Dol Guldur. That's fun. And then at the same time, we'll get the Witch King on the Fellowship. That sounds fun. We're spending a will to get the Eagles in, I would imagine, because of Born Up and Lifted Up and Born Away. And you have in long, swift lines, which maybe doesn't matter as much. And we need only wings, so you have a lot of Eagles cards, and a lot of Eagles cards in play, or rather available. Shadows of Dol Guldur is played with an army die. Interesting. Okay. That makes sense. It was a 4 recruit and move, so that's a pretty good use of a die. I will go alone. So who's going? Oh, Strider. Strider's breaking off to go get crowned. That's cool. I like it. And then the army sits on Frodo. Okay, that makes sense. And Gorgoroth joins up with Gothmog. And Aragorn's crowned. And Mordor is emptied. There are no more shadow units in Mordor. So the Fellowship's taken a beating. Smeagol's gone. Hasn't found a chance to play Safe Paths in the Dark yet. They're at effective, what? -3 corruption, 5 moves out of 10. A little bit of a beating, but you have Aragorn crowned. You have Gandalf in the wings. Oh, that's an interesting point. Yeah, you couldn't have get Gandalf, despite the wills last round, because no minion. So we're playing a Gandalf denial strategy, as anyone who is paying attention would have noticed. Black Sails, Isildur's Bane for Shadow, and Half-Orcs and Goblinmen. That's a hand, man. I think I would throw Stormcrow, but I'm always heavy on. I love me a corruption game. Hey, he threw Stormcrow. I'm feeling pretty good on my picks today. The way there is what we're going to call less helpful. Thranduils might be okay. And oh, look, the way there is thrown away. Of course, that Blade of Westerness is always hilarious, but 1 eye allocated, 2 eyes allocated, 1 more rolled. The Fellowship gets pretty distributed roll with another Will of the West. Although if you get Gandalf, then the Galadriel dice will go away, which is handily given a move. Fellowship. I think that means intense thinking. In long, swift lines is played. Voila! Another word I know. Anyway. Yep. Okay. Dreadful Spells. Oh, that's fun. I like it. Dreadful Spells on Lorien, right? Yeah. Yeah, just 1. But you get to redraw a character card because you're on the Fellowship. I like it. That's fun. That's so cool. Another Eagle is brought into play via the faction die. Saruman goes to war. Fellowship moves. Yeah, you're a little stuck for playable. You have an Elven Ring. I actually kind of think I might have moved the Elven, or blah, 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 blah. Use the Elven Ring for what? Isildur's Bane? Maybe not worth it. Not when you roll 6s and draw 3. So there's Gimli gone. Fellowship's pretty picked over. Gonna need to play some of those hunt cards soon if you're gonna make use of them. Aragorn runs back to Rohan. Okay. Osgiliath is attacked. Web of Shadows is played to score an additional hit. Theoretically, does it do that thing? It didn't, so I'm assuming there was a reason for that. Sorry for the little bit half-hearted commentary there. Lots of WoME cards, and I'm just assuming this game is going to go quite long. I have no idea who wins. I have no idea what happens. I was just told it was an excellent game worth casting. He did an illegal move. Oh, he move 3 things? Okay. Bad Fat Hobbit. Okay. He leaves the Spoider sitting on Fellowship, which I don't know if that'll matter. You had her own offspring, but that doesn't matter. Huge and terrible doesn't matter right now. Right. So I don't know what you're looking for there, but maybe you're just waiting to draw into something. The dead men come in. So okay, yep, that makes sense why Aragorn moved over there. So Rohan comes in, so you're gonna let them have Gandalf. I guess you're letting them have Gandalf at the cost of the Galadriel die. So kind of not costing yourself anything, right? Shadow threw Oleg high because they drew foul thing and evil things. That's excellent in my opinion. Wow, look at this hand. Foul thing, cruel weather, lure of the ring, evil things, captain of despair, Isildur's bane, and black sails if you can get the boats in time. Along with shadows of the misty mountains. That's a fun hand. Don't know what you throw. Half orcs. Wow, you've thrown half orcs and Ologhai. And then some faction card black sails. Yeah, the Corsairs aren't in play yet. Unfortunately, Faramir is one turn late. There is another way is obviously going to be pretty good here in a hot sec here. Fellowship or probably Book and or Eriador. Kill Thronduils. And Swords and Eriador. Okay. And the Fellowship chooses not to declare because if... Yeah, I see it. If you declare to Western Brownlands, you sort of risk being cruel weathered into Dol Guldur, which is funny. 2 eyes allocated, 1 more rolled. Very balanced roll for the Free Peoples, who begin with lifted up and borne away. So they move the Eagles, and they get their move safe, even with the reroll. And because of in long swift lines, they get a new eagle. Shadow plays evil things, moves their spooters, and draws a 1. So let's go take a quick look at the hunt pool. Wow, that hunt pool is picked over. So those reveals will obviously be excellent for a few more minutes before Smeagol / Gollum, I guess it's Gollum, comes in and makes them all quite benign. But wow, that's a picked over hunt pool. And all the, because there's only 1 eye, the tile drawing cards are very safe. Fellowship moves again. Wow, we're racing. But no hits. No hits, even with the reroll. The Witch King is not being a very good sniffer right now. Isildur's Bane is played for a 2. Decent. Yeah, because it can't be corruption reduced. Excuse me. Let's see. Draws into We Won't Go Back. Yeah. Can't be played. Okay. Elrond is recruited for his die. Yep, that makes sense. Foul Thing is now played for the only eye in the pool. Oh, jeez. You had a 1 in 6. A 5 out of 6 is not hitting that. That too bad. Shucks. On the other hand, now 4 of the 5 tiles are reveals. So that's pretty good. And you've drawn into The Gates Are Closed. So good timing to get that before the Fellowship hits Mordor. And you have Cruel Weather pending. Fellowship's 2 moves from Rivendell, from Mordor, excuse me. The Ents are brought in. Southrons and Easterlings go to war. Shadow has effectively not done any attacking. They took Osgiliath. That's it. Another Ent is brought in with the faction die. Captain of Despair is played both for the, I would imagine, for the cycle. No cycle? You're on the Fellowship and you played a C die. Don't you get a cycle? Or C card? I think that might be a mistake. Question mark. Fellowship plays There Is Another Way. Really? As opposed to Safe Paths in the Dark? They made the same mistake I did. Excellent. Okay. Well, there we go. Southerns and Easterlings go to war. Rohan is moved down the track. Why is Rohan activated? What allowed them to be activated by doing that? Oh, East Emnet was moved into. Yep. Okay. Not risking it. Burning the cruel weather around early. Interesting. Just worried about the timing next round. Oh, and you get to cycle while the Witch King's on him. So you draw into Lidless Eye. You don't want them to go there. Dimrill Dale. Okay. Interesting. I guess you're drawing so heavily through the C deck that the free people will have to assume you have it anyway, and you just want to get it played. There's certainly some nuance there that I think I wouldn't understand really yet. Wild Hillman is drawn. Give it to us. Yeah, let's get those red tiles now that we are basically through the hunt pool. Threats and Promises is hilarious, but we're going to go ahead and throw that. And Lidless Eye. Okay. Free people get by chance or by foresight. I don't think that'll do much here. Premonition of Danger, that could matter. Could matter quite a bit. And Imrahil. They throw Faramir. Okay. Fellowship's okay. Chooses to not declare. 3 steps from where you are, you'd be under... okay. Probably not worth thinking about too much there. What are you doing? I'm assuming... Oh, the shadow player discarded 1 too many cards. I assume. I don't know what's going on there. I think they discarded 1 too many cards and went to go get Lidless Eye back. Then allocated 2 eyes and rolled no more, so that's good. Elrond chooses to not betray the good guys this time round. Lots of move for the Fellowship. They have enough to make it. I'd be a little... I mean, shouldn't the free people take a round out, right? Shadow has 0 points. It's turn 6, and Shadow has 0 points, and they're not even on top of any strongholds. You get your 4th move, and you just hang out in Minas Tirith for a bit, right? You're safe. An orc comes out of Moria to sit on the Fellowship, and the Easterlings get moving. By chance or by foresight is played for some cards that I'm going to not choose to watch too closely. And they get an eagle because of in long swift lines. Corsairs are brought in. Okay. And by chance or by foresight is played again. Draw some more cards. I'm going to assume we're keeping Paths of the Dead. Stone of Eric is played instead, so the dead man can come in extra fast. Okay. And another eagle is manifested by in long swift lines. Okay. The East Emnet army joins with Gothmog in Druiden Forest. Stone of Eric is played. Yeah, so it looks like Fellowship's got the same idea I had for them, that they're intending to just hang on in Minas Tirith a bit. And Shadow is responding by, attempting to kill Minas Tirith. Dead men are recruited. Gothmog's ability is used in Druiden Forest. Interesting. Rohan's moved down the track. Wow. And because it's moved down the track with Stone of Eric in play, you get a free Deadman. Yeah, this looks a little dangerous. We could be... we could have some sadness here. Minas Tirith is attacked, or rather put under siege. Technically, that die should have gone. There it is in the hunt pool, and a guy is left behind to prevent Path of the Woes. As several guys are left behind. Interesting. Rohan is fully to war, as is Gondor, and you get a free dead man for doing that. That makes sense. The Shadow then takes Pelargir from Osgiliath and moves Umbar to West Harondor with the Corsairs. Interesting. Why not try and take Minas Tirith? Do you feel like you don't have good cards for it? You have Fear of Their Masters, which could, really do some sadness to you, but what do you have? You have a spider. You have a spider, so you could do something with that, maybe? I'm a little interested by that, but free people muster an elite in Dol Amroth. Okay. And then the faction... Oh, okay. Ships of Great Draught is played to reinforce from Umbar. I think this is almost exclusively to just... Okay, it's an extra attack, and now you have the ships there. Okay. This is what comes of having played the game, more than I have. Playing WoME specifically. Web of Shadow is played so that spiders can participate versus a daylight. 1 hit, 2 hits for Giampy. That's pretty good. 2 hits back from TheFatHobbit. Press. Was Web of Shadows not a thing? More total hits than your opponent, so not a thing. Choose cards. It's back to Web of Shadows versus another daylight. Have Deja Vu. Only 1 incoming. Only 1 outgoing. Oof, that Web of Shadows is not doing a whole lot. But you don't really need to. Minas Tirith is in great trouble. Last Stroke of Doom, which I definitely know what that does. Oh, wow. That's really cool. And then Out of High Airs to cancel the Nazgul leadership. So that's fun. But doesn't need it. 2 hits back. Last Stroke of Doom is used for the press, and now we Fear of Our Masters to barely get the hit. I believe is technically 2 hits, but it's all you needed, so... Minas Tirith falls. The Fellowship will receive no healing. No succor there. I think that was very well played. That worked out well for them, but I think that was a reasonable play. You went with what of? Like a 5-3-5? Something like that. Well, it ended with a 7-3-5 with the 3 ships, so that makes sense. That's pretty cool. Servants of Sauron is drawn. We're getting prepped into the next round. Another red tile. Great. Love to see those red tiles. King is revealed. The king is quote unquote revealed, so you could get that, but I'm not sure it's really worth the time. Just curious. And throw Lidless Eye. Yep, that makes sense. Take someone you can trust. So both hobbits are still in the Fellowship, and then after you can just not be revealed. Nice. That's good timing. Every little is gain is pseudo late. Fellowship, of course, declares into no man's land since Minas Tirith is quote unquote closed to them, and the Witch King dances on over there. 2 eyes allocated, and 1 more rolled. Let's see. So the Fellowship, before I go too far, Fellowship is 2 steps from Mordor at 2 corruption effective. About to be down to Gollum. The hunt pool is actually pretty nice, honestly. There's only 2 more corruption in the hunt pool if you take your companions. So, not actually quote unquote that much to be scared of there. Interesting. I think the Fellowship's better off than they feel like they are. Yep. Uses a will to play Take Someone You Can Trust early, and now we're going to start cycling those character dice, get those red tiles in. Worn with Sorrow and Toil is drawn, but we don't need that. Fellowship moves against 4 dice and is safe. Wow. The ultimate safe. And some other Italian words that I definitely don't know. The Dunlendings are brought in. Interesting. Okay. A character character card is drawn, and it's Elven Rope. So the blues are actually going to be just as good as the reds, or quote unquote, just as good as the reds. Shadows on the Misty Mountains is played. Yeah, if you get a turn where the Fellowship doesn't have many recruits, but you've moved your whole local army away, what are you going to do? Sit on top of Lorien and watch them muster? Really, you play Elven Rope with a character? I guess Cruel Weather is known to not exist. You're risking... and you have an Elven Ring if you desperately need, if Day Without Dawn burns your will. I guess that makes sense. Armies consolidate west of Moria, going for Rivendell, I guess, to maybe with the purpose of silencing Elrond's die. Axe and Bow is drawn, which is useless. Armies move to Trollshaws and Druiden Forest. So yeah, I didn't mention it, but North Ithilien moved through over to a Druiden Forest. So yeah, I would assume Shadow is not going for Dol Amroth, because with the Army of the Dead sitting there, that's going to be effectively impossible. So you got to go squash some Rohan insurrection, I assume. Paths of the Dead is then played to effectively just get a dead man and do some things. That second half of that sentence was some prime commentary. That's why you come to this channel. Shadow plays Gates Are Closed. Yeah, there you go. Although it's fairly like, it's not going to hit. It's not going to hit because Take Someone You Can Trust is just going to undo it, right? I guess you're just getting the cycle. Nazgul Search. Actually, Nazgul Search, if they choose to not be revealed because of Take Someone You Can Trust, then you could Elven Ring Nazgul Search, or they could just burn Gates Are Closed with a Will of the West. That would also work. And the Fellowship chose to not move. They're choosing to be ultra careful. Okay. Not sure I agree, but it makes sense. Rivendell is put under siege, and now the elves are at war. Another eagle is recruited, and we go into turn 8. Another Servants of Sauron for the Shadow player. Lore of the Elven Rings, which will not be helpful. Madness and Horror, which will be a swarm of bats. What are we throwing here? I assume Worn with Sorrow and Toil. Lore of the Elven Rings, that makes even more sense. Fellowship drew some stuff. Drew Athelas. That has a chance to be important. Scouts. But they drew it through Axe and Bow, the useless Axe and Bow. They throw the Scouts. Shadow still needs to throw a card, ? And kills. Oh, they need to throw a faction card and through Huge and Horrible, which makes sense. Making their spiders do combat damage, I believe that is. Shadow allocates just one eye. That feels a hair risky to me, but rolls the faction dice as an eye. And holy cow, the game wanted the free people to be on Mordor this turn. So they Athelas with a will. I'm not sure I like that. I think I would have put a C into the Athelas and just risk or do something else and like muster Rohan. Don't you want to muster Rohan? But one corruption is healed. Druiden Fortis goes to Fold, and Near Harad comes up. I don't see that doing anything, but okay, sure. Another Dead Men is recruited with the faction die. Rivendell is attacked with a strategy card. I'm going to assume Swarm of Bats. Swarm of Bats versus advantageous position, so that's a good time. 2 hits incoming, 2 hits outgoing, but that will take that for... What are you doing there? Oh, just chooses to take the 1 elite. Okay, weird. Okay. Oppress, of course. A relentless assault. Interesting. Are you going to relentless against a shield wall? I would imagine 5 at 5. Yeah, so if you take your elite, you'll get 5 dice at 5. If you take 2 of them, you have 4 dice at 4. My instinct is 5 at 5 is better than 4 at 4, but 4 at 4 is... and you need 2 hits. I'm not going to do this math. 2. So he takes the 4 at 4. Just the 1. Well, shield wall, everybody. But that should be able to be finished pretty quickly. Majesty and Glory is drawn, which is if a companion's in play, you can prevent all cards from the shadow for a whole battle. It's also a Hjorn Dark, which is fan-flippantastic. Rivendell's attacked again. Character card versus strategy card. There's the Words of Power just to burn the card, I assume. Versus Eagles. Cancel Elrond and get nothing. And get hit for your troubles. 1 more hit from the Eagles. But the Eagles kind of plowed into the trees of Rivendell. This could get very scary very fast if this goes downhill. And you've thrown Oleg High and Half-Orcs and Goblin Men, so your only forward mustering card left is Hill Trolls. The Dark Door is played, which means that the dead men are now available to go reinforce Rohan, so that's pretty good. A muster in North Dunland. Shadow doesn't want to risk the battle in Rivendell. We need only wings. Move all eagles to eliminate one eagle, blah, 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 and then move companions. Nope, it was just used as a move eagles card. Cool. What? We're waiting. Is Gandalf going somewhere? Oh, you have to kill the eagle, I assume, regardless of not moving anybody. Rivendell is attacked, so you are risking it. Okay, strategy card versus something didn't move. Oh, just the free people played a card. There's the 1 hit, and there's 1 hit back. I don't know what's... something happened there that I'm not entirely clear about. Oh, the Eagles saved the day. So Elrond died, but Rivendell was not captured. Interesting. Something about pistachios, which I'm sure is definitely not what that word means. Really? So Rivendell got saved. That's terrible for Shadow. You could get there and get a free Rivendell unless the free people use an Elven Ring at the cost of everything. The free people moves and is hit. A 2 reveal, but take someone you can trust. And now it's time for... Oh, you've got to play Nazgul Search, buddy. You move to West Emnet and North Rune. Okay. The Ents be doing their thing. 1 hit on West Emnet. 2 hits on West Emnet. Stop. Yeah, so the Ents kind of tickle the army in West Emnet. You play Give It to Us. Why? I'm missing something. Fellowship is attacking. Attacking? Who are they attacking? I have no idea why dice are being rolled. Nobody hit anything, so I have absolutely no idea what happened there. And then Shadow Elven Rings to Nazgul Search. Okay. I'm not sure about the order there, but this seems to make a ton of sense. The Witch King flies away to go become a battle chief. You're revealed into Moranon for one reveal. So an extra one hit. I'm a little confused as to the taking the corruption there as opposed to killing a hobbit. There might be something I'm not aware of. Are these the alternate hobbits? They are, so they can cancel the tile. That makes sense. I think that's what that is. I think Merry Hobbit of the Shire is the alternate version. We'll find out, I'm sure. Quite the game so far. The Fellowship's been really dogged on, but we'll see what happens. Another red tile, so that's excellent. The Elrond die is gone, as well as Elrond's ability, so that's good. Horde from the east, that could be quite useful. Shadow's going to discard something, I assume Nazgul Strike. Excuse me. It was a faction card they had to blow. Okay. Yeah, the spiders didn't end up doing a whole lot, which is sad, but oh well. Free people, I think, just drew cards. So they have Danes. That looks like it's about to be important. We Prove the Swifter maybe gives us a showing. Let's go take a quick look at the Hunt Pool. Hunt Pool is only 3 eyes because Galadriel did her thing. 2 reds. 3 regular eyes and a red eye. Those zeros, of course, are pretty tasty right now for the free people because the Shadow has 3 points right now. The Helm's Deep might be theirs, but with the dead men able to jump the mountains, I don't know where Shadow's getting their points. I guess the Dew Line and Rivendell maybe. Also, they've rolled their eye, so they're allocating 1 eye, allocating 2 eyes. Yeah, that makes sense. Roll no more. Free people get a very balanced roll with several wills, so that's good for them. What they want to get down to, there's another way, of course. They begin with a hide, as you must, and then in goes the 3rd red tile, the 3 red. Captain of Despair is still in play. Oh, ow, that's terrible. Now, Premonition of Danger, on the other hand, yep, there goes that red eye. Foof. Good time for Premonitioning of Dangering. North Dunland moves towards Rivendell. Honestly, I don't like that. You need more guys. All you're doing is just spending an elven... Yeah, they're mustering in Woodland Realm. Really? Shows you what I know. Dale is attacked. And Nazgul Strike or Black Breath is spent. The Eagles come and do a little damage, but Dale is destroyed. The North should be 1 more step down towards war, but I'm sure that won't matter. An Elven Elite is put into Woodland Realm again. Wow, he just flat draws a character card. Another Eagle is brought in. Shadow plays Servants of Sauron and looks for some cards. Gets only, it looks like Dunlanding cards. Those aren't going to be super helpful. Fellowship moves. It's a 0 reveal, so that's good to get the use out of the 0. Get the reveal out of the 0 reveal before we're down to Gollum. And Lure of the Ring. Hey, that's nice. Ooh, and you burn a Hobbit so that if those were the alternates, which I'm not 1,000,000,000% certain of, they no longer can do their thing. So that's excellent. Oh, yeah. You force them to take the corruption because they will choose to keep the companions so they can do their thing. I'm glad someone's paying attention. And because Woodland Realm was mustered, they get a free Rivendell. Wow. Surely it was worth a 1 regular in each. Do you still have the Elven regulars? You don't. Yeah, and you've thrown Thranduils. I suppose it makes sense, but it's 2 points either way, right? Either you lose Woodland Realm for free or you lose Rivendell for free. It was definitely... anyway, easy in hindsight. 6 points for Shadow, but Helm's Deep is not guaranteed with the dead men there, and dew line is not free. Oh man, timing. Shadow gets Craft of Shelob. I bet they're so excited about that. And they get Palantir Vorthank. Chef's kiss. I assume you blow Phlox there. No, you don't need to blow that. You blow some other, I don't know, wild hillman. Wow, my random guess was right. Free people will have Path of the Woses. That could matter. Lost Arnach is still available to Path of Woses, but to what end? They kill Majesty and Glory. I guess you just don't have enough companions out on the map to matter, and Lorien's not going to fall. I'm surprised Rohan didn't get any mustering, now that I say that out loud. I guess they're just relying on the dead men. One eye allocated. Not too interesting. One more rolled. Pretty balanced for the free people. Not too many musters or hybrids, though, I guess. Play Elven Cloaks. Again, are you really intending to move that many sea dice? Craft of Shelob goes in. Great faction dice roll for the Shadow. So the hunt pool is now 3 reds, 3 eyes, and quote-unquote 3 zeros. And a 3. It is only things of 3s in the hunt pool. Was the Fellowship do? Union of all our strength. Okay, they're going to do a thing there. Oh, they get Mithril Coat and Sting. Very nice. They then note that the North Army of the North should be farther one down to the war. Mouth of Sauron comes in Dol Guldur. Okay. It's occurring to me, the free people, and it's probably not worth it. Lorien has like this very offshoot chance of free people's military victory of Moria and Dol Guldur, but it's not really a thing. So, okay. Erebor, going for Erebor. I guess it is the smaller of the 2 stacks. Leaving nobody in Dale. Interesting. Dane Ironfoots is played, so that's nice. HD is put under siege, so threatening the win. But Wraiths of Fear is played, so we're just going to delete the army over HD with dead men. 4, 5, stop and retreat. So yeah, burn half the army of the dead men, but that Helm's Deep is safe for effectively evermore. Helm's Deep is put under siege again. Wow. Well, commentary, folks, I has it. But the taking of that's going to be pretty minimal, I would imagine. Mithril Coat and Sting is played. That's a good time for that. HD is threatened. He does have a Deadly Strife. Deadly Strife versus the King of the Dead. So the pre from the Dead Men, 2 more. Yeah, that's all she wrote. Helm's Deep is safe. Okay, whew. My commentary was not as off as it could have been. And the free people move. It's the 0 reveal. Wow. I mean, you love the zeros, right? But to not have Gollum here really sucks. You've been toasting a lot of time. I mean, not red is good. So what do you want here? You have to make 3 more moves without hitting a red, which is pretty unlikely. But you have Mithril Coat to help. It's going to be a tight game. Shadow does not have any Elven Rings, nor Palantirs, nor character dice, so they cannot play Breaking, which would obviously be fun here, although maybe not good, because 5 of the 8 tiles would do nothing there, and the rest are, and some of the others are reds that you don't really want to do. Yeah, so Breaking's actually pretty bad here, I would say. Lamadon? Really? Interesting. Okay. How many dead men are left? None. That can't be right. I think I might be missing something. Oh, there it is. The last dead men's on the Stone of Eric. So there's not that many dead men left. But Gondor's at war. They'll just muster up. I don't know. Okay, whatever. Fellowship draws into... Free Peoples draws into swift boats. Okay, orderly withdrawal could be interesting. DA is put under siege and, like, actually goes. Speaking as myself, I would have... You don't field there and play the Dead Men's Battle card twice? Saving DA and then just muster? You'd lose the Dead Men, but, well. Maybe you just don't feel you need to. Paths of the Dead is in play, and that will let you get the card that lets them attack, so that's handy. Shadow player gets Balrog, Return of the Witch King, i.e. Swarm of Bats. Free people get Grey Company, which theoretically could matter. They throw swift boats, yep. So Red Arrow also could theoretically matter. One eye allocated. 2 more rolled, including the faction die. Free people get a very balanced roll. No hybrids, though. They use the will to hide. Shadow flips the black captain into play. With lots of... I don't know why this is... Wow, that the replay had a hiccup there. Okay. Fellowship moves. Didn't Shadow have anything? I thought they had something. I guess just breaking, which doesn't count. And it's red tile, though. The one, give it to us. Mithril Coat is played. Honestly? Yeah, okay, fine. And draws into an eye. And then the hobbits, hobbits toast themselves on the eye. So, okay. Golem is the guide. Mithril Coat is spent. So you need to make 2 moves at 7 corruption. He still has There's Another Way. So that's excellent against this hunt pool. You're going to need to hit probably one of the blues. And you mostly need to not hit a terrible shield off. And you need Shadow to give you some time. It's turn 11. It's been a fairly long game. Erebor's hit. Captain of Despair is no longer in play, but I'm sure they'll notice that. They Are Terrible is played versus Out of the High Airs. Those Eagles have been doing some work. 2 hits incoming, 1 hit outgoing. Stop. This does put the dwarves to war. I'm a little surprised the muster isn't being spent here to muster in Iron Hills. And just be a giant patoot. Dead Men is played instead to get the last Dead Men. And to cycle out for the attacking card. Okay, that makes sense. Erebor is attacked again. Out of the High Airs is played again. Those Eagles are just literally wherever they feel like being at any point. No Nazgul rerolls, but that's the end of the Eagles. So 1 hit incoming, 3 hits outgoing. Stop draw into Candles of Corpses. Theoretically some corruption there. Shadow hits Erebor again. See, again, why are we not mustering in Iron Hills? You can at least retake Dale. That'd be fun. We're burning Candles of Corpses for the Dread and Despair. Just not going to get enough corruption out of it to matter, you think? Interesting. The Sudden Strike does nothing. 2 incoming, 1 outgoing. Surely you press. Yes, here's the press. Draw no card versus Shield Wall. 1 hit incoming, Shield Wall, everybody. 1 hit outgoing. And once again, you have 3 regulars outside a Free People's Stronghold with 1 regular. And you still don't muster in Iron Hills. You draw into Wind from the West. Yep, they kill Captain of Despair. Air Wars again. No card. 2 hits incoming, 1 hit outgoing. Erebor falls. Wait, what? Surely Erebor fell. Are we not taking Erebor? I'm confused. I must have got those backwards. Let's go look. I think they're just forgetting to take it. Okay, yeah, okay. And we still imagine if there was an elite in Iron Hills right now. I'm confused. Wind from the West is played, and there's the Shadow Hand. The entire gigantic Shadow Hand. You throw Breaking. I'd be pretty tempted to throw Grond or Ringwraiths. But what do I know? Breaking the Fellowship's Throne. Okay. Hill Trolls is then played in Dol Amroth. Okay. And HD is mustered. Again, why not Iron Hills? I must be missing something. Ringwraiths are abroad, and we go for the win. So, can DA be taken? Strategy card versus strategy card here, of course, is Swarm of Bats versus the Dead Men card. So, one hit incoming, no hits outgoing. Press, that's pretty bad for free people. King of the Dead, another Swarm of Bats. You had 2 Swarm of Bats. This could, not with those rolls, 1 hit incoming, 1 hit outgoing. Your last press. Here's the Dead Men for nothing. 2 hits incoming. Oh, and you buy another round. Dol Amroth lives to buy the round. Oh, man, that was so close. Oh, wow. Wow. So 1 hit. So you rolled, what, 15 dice there? Roughly 13, 15 dice. And had 4 hits on 6s. So if it was 16 dice for 6s, that's not a round number. I have no idea. Anyway, moving on. Oh, they're commenting on statistics. All right. The way OBS works, we get to view statistics only once, and I'm going to burn my viewing here. Let's see. There you go. Oh, well, the stats are broken. The free people have rolled 270 dice, and they're doing very well on 6s. So who knows? Sorry, stats were broken. Don't know why that happens. I have put time into that. We get to go to the next round, though. The Western Way is drawn, perhaps a little bit too late to matter in any way at all, even a little bit. What's the bottom of that? Daring Defiance? Yep, that's also not going to matter. Shadow gets Morgul Wound, which could very well matter, and Strongly Guarded, which I don't know. Yeah, that's not going to matter. Okay, Deadly Strife, though, is excellent. And they throw a Spider card. Shelob, looking for Shelob. 1 eye allocated, none rolled. 2 moves for free people. They were, I'm sure, hoping for 3. There is another way. Okay, down to 6 corruption. Here's the move. Oh, we'll take an eye. It's a not red. Grond is played. Here's Grond on DA and a Deadly Strife. Why is the free people not dead mending? I guess maybe they just don't think it's worth it. There's confusion about the thing, but the dead men have not saved a DA. What do you do as free people here? You just run for it, right? You just make the mountain trip, right? If you flip, you just got to move and not hit a red. You can't recapture. You could recapture Dale with Iron Hills. Or Woodland Realm, for that matter. I think they've forgotten Dale's captured. Ent goes to Fangorn. Osgiliath blocks off Path of the Woses and moves to Druiden Forest to maybe take Edoras. Goes to threaten Edoras some more. Edoras reinforces. Is Dale not captured? They took Dale, right? Yeah, they took Dale. How else did they get to Iron Hills? Or get to Erebor? I guess taking Edoras is the prevention of Dale being recaptured mattering. Okay, that makes sense. I'm glad I'm not completely missing anything. Or at least that specific thing. Moving of the dead, or not dead men, hillmen allows Death to the Foregoyle to be played, which allows an attack on Fords. Scouts gets them away into Helm's Deep. The Witch King the Witch King does not hop on over. The card not on anybody's side is played. That could matter. The Witch King hops on over, and Gothmog hops over to Fords, sure. Something about rounds. Edoras musters again. Interesting. Another Death to the Foregoyle is played. Helm's Deep. Interesting. You like your chances there better than Edoras? Interesting. And the wizard is never late. So free people are throwing their... Wait a minute. They just lose, right? Yeah, I was going to say, no, you can't do that. You just lose if you do that. Yeah, okay, he retakes Dale with Woodland Realm. Okay, that makes sense. Which means you're throwing everything in on a hold of Edoras, which is adjacent to the Dead Men. Really? You liked your chances there better than a move. A move is a 50-50. It's a better than 50-50 you win on a move. You hit a not red and you win. You think your chances in Edoras are better than 50-50. Interesting. All right, well, let's see. They discuss, I'm sure, exactly that. But instead we're going to go for Helm's Deep. With a Devilry. 4 hits. Oofta oofta. Well, that might swing things a little bit. Second round of fighting Uruk-hai. Now the Dead Men can be played but against another Devilry. 2 hits from the Dead Men. Nothing from the incoming. 1 more on the outgoing. The last Dead Men versus Old Hatred, which I'm sure just makes the Dunlendings matter. The last Dead Men gets 2 more hits. Once again, we have 2 shadow armies outside a singular, and there's the hit. I assume that matters? No. No hits, and there's the 6. So Shadow does not win. The Dead Men have saved Helm's Deep twice. Oh, jeez. Crazy. Crazy. All right, then we're on to turn 13. Shadow gets Black Captain and Shadows Gather. So yeah, this is the military end game now. That there's no question about that. Rangers of the North could theoretically matter. 3 rings for the Elven Kings won't matter. Shadow has drawn all but 1 character card. Okay, I'm going to spend 3 seconds trying to think what Shadow card I haven't seen. No clue. Cool. Write in the comments if you know what it is. 1 I allocated, 3 rolled. That ends up not mattering because eyes are still... The singular eye is still a win for free people. And as free people dilly-dally, I don't know why you would unless you want to just draw all the cards looking for Bilbo's song. Wants to draw all those cards and gets Smeagol Helps Nice Master. Shadow Gathers plays to move a kind of piddling little army from Druiden Forest, risking Path of the Woses, which is gone, but you're risking it. I don't know what you're risking. They pop into Druiden Forest and then you kill them. Okay. Yeah, don't leave the guy behind. It's fine. Will of the West puts Gandalf in Edoras and kills the Ents. I assume a companion has to stay in Fangorn for the Ents to keep doing their thing. Black Captain commands, pops the Witch King over to Helm's Deep, and they dead. All right, Helm's Deep is captured. We're at 11 points versus none. The redraw didn't see go by. If he redrew, I didn't see it. Smeagol helps Nice Masters in play. They talk about, I assume, wanting Shelob. Draw a card from the discard. Here's the move for the game. It's a 3. Well done, free people, in delaying. That was a great hold of Helm's Deep at the end. And in the end, you had a 5 out of 7? 4 out of 7. Math's hard. 5 out of 8? Yeah, there we go. Pretty good chance at the game, although pretty close to a 50-50, which is how you know it's a good game. Shadow's basically drawn their all 3 decks, which is fun. But yeah, there's GG. What a game. Thank you very much, FatHobbit and Giampy, for sharing this with me. It was an excellent game and fun game. It's fun to get some WoME games going. I've got maybe at least one more WoME game in my belt for casting. So maybe look for that in the near future. Thank you all for joining me. I do want to give a quick shout out to B. Hilly, who has recently put out his first video. So if you've enjoyed my content on this channel of War of the Rings 2nd Edition, he has put out his first cast of a War of the Ring game. So I'll leave a link to his channel in the description. And I would encourage you all to go check out his content. His first video is excellent. And I can imagine they'll only get better from there. So thank you all for joining me, and I'll see you in the next one.